The name is it's very important to a lot of people, and I think it's important to have a brand. But to me, as the candidate, it's much more about what I stand for and what I believe in, and not labels. I mean, which irony being no labels, right?
And welcome back to Square Off. That was Hugh Lytle, the former Arizona Independent Party candidate for governor. He's now having to run under the No Labels Party banner. That after a Maricopa County judge canceled the Independent Party name. Judge Gregory Como said Democratic Secretary of State Adrian Fontes had no authority to approve No Labels' short-lived name change. Now, the chairman of the now No Labels Party is appealing the ruling. So is Adrian Fontes the biggest loser in this saga? The politics panel steps in. Stacey Pearson, Democratic consultant at Lumen Strategies, and Republican activist Tyler Montague. Welcome back to Square Off. Stacey, I do know the Arizona Democratic and Republican parties sued to block the name change. Are you guys now doing the happy dance?
Well, I am amazed that we found an issue to unite the Republicans and the Democrats. And that is this tomfoolery that is you're once a no label, which by the way was inherently a label, and now you're independent, but that meant something else. I mean, we actually, this disaster has brought both parties together.
But you know, Paul Johnson, chair of the Independent Party / No Labels, he would say you guys are just aligned against independent, having an independent party, period.
Not at all. I mean, the independent folks that do not want to be affiliated with either of the major parties, they have always had an outsized influence in Arizona's elections. Why we're breaking the system and trying an experiment is beyond me. If you want to move your party in a different direction, run. I mean, moderate the Republicans, moderate the Democrats. There's a way to get involved in your own system that isn't inventing a new one.
The judge blasted Adrian Fontes. He had no authority to do what he did, the judge said. This was a bait and switch. He suggested in the future some Secretary of State could create an Arizona Nazi party. Where does Adrian Fontes stand right now? And he's not appealing, by the way.
Yeah, I think he realizes that the ruling was right, and there's nothing to be had by going further with it. And really, being independent means you're not part of a party. It's not an identity. I don't know how much this would have helped Lytle. I mean, maybe it moves him from 3% to 4% of the vote. So it's kind of a waste of time anyway.
But staying with Fontes, how much damage could this do in a re-election campaign?
Oh, Fontes was between a rock and a hard place. Either you side with a party that has voted internally to change its name, or you just say no. I mean, he was going to draw a lawsuit on either side. So I don't think this has long-term consequences.
But the judge is saying he had the law to lean on in not approving it.
Oh, it's a mess.
And that's where it gets kind of...
He probably should have not approved it, but I think for him it'll probably be a nothing burger. The general public isn't going to notice this, and so I don't think it hurts him in his election.
And Hugh Lytle is apparently plowing ahead under the No Labels banner. He says, you know, it's about what I offer, not the party banner I'm under. Does this help, hurt? Does it even matter?
That goes from 3% to 4%. Well, now it just went 4 to 3. It doesn't matter.
That's cute. That's cute. He's so optimistic. That's cute.
You know, you're not making independents too happy right now. But seriously, can he still be a spoiler?
I don't think so. I mean, look, there are so many self-funded candidates that think that they're the great salvation for Americans' political problem. And when they have to write the second or the $3 million check to fund their own campaign, things start to get a little bit dicey. I'm not sure he goes the distance.
Okay, we'll watch that. Let's look at the Salt River Project elections. I know they're getting a lot of attention out there, certainly from activists. This is the board that runs the power and water supplier. It's up for re-election in one of the least democratic elections in the country based on land ownership. Full disclosure, I get a quarter of a vote because I own a quarter of an acre.
Me too.
Usually, okay. let's pool our voting power here and make something happen. So political spending activity are unprecedented in the history of this more than century-old organization. Break it down for us, Tyler. What is going on behind the scenes?
Well, these elections are based off of acreage, and they used to be simple because you just had to go to the 10 big farmers and persuade them and you'd win. But now all of that land has been sold to subdivisions, And so you've got a quarter acre, I've got a quarter acre, and now the votes are in the hands of the general public and not farming stakeholders. And so the Sierra Club and others realized that, hey, we could go and get these votes and take over the board of SRP. And that's, that is the political environment of it. SRP, it's not their plan to reduce power generation. I think there's a general threat of some of these environmental initiatives hurting generation, driving up costs. That's the argument on the other side.
And it's saying you have Turning Point coming in and apparently spending a lot of money in this election, knocking on doors, organizing. They're kind of using this as a dress rehearsal for the midterms, it seems. Building up voter turnout and just getting ready for what's to come in just a few months. Is that how you see it?
Oh, for sure. I think they're keeping their lists fresh, which is a little bit terrifying. I mean, we saw what they did with the Mesa City Council in a recall election late last year. Now we're seeing them fire up that same machinery for an SRP election, which, I mean, I would really like these corporation boards to be boring again. I mean, this is a very strange situation we're in. I had to figure out how to vote, and I do this for a living, and I had to figure out how to request a ballot.
Now, SRP primarily serves the East Valley. You and I live many miles apart. I live, and yet we're still served by them.
Yep.
Anyhow, so it primarily serves the East Valley. That's where this door knocking is going on. If I'm an East Valley Democratic candidate, how concerned am I right now that I'm not sure I can counter this? In the fall.
The Democrats were the first to really get sophisticated with their ground game, and they were firing that machine back up. So now, the Republicans caught up. This goes back to Obama when it was no door left uncovered. And so I think we're actually looking at more of a fair fight than we are an advantage on one side or the other.
You see it that way?
Well, I think Turning Point needs to hold on to its workforce in order to be there for the election. So that might explain part of why they're there. I don't think co-branding the SRP election with Turning Point is necessarily good for the SRP favored board members, and I don't think people should conflate Turning Point's support with that. I think, in my opinion, we have to be careful with our power generation. We're going to need a massive amount in the very near future to pay for the new AI universe. And that's the uncertainty that I worry about with this other slate of candidates. It's unclear what they would do.
Yeah. All right. Guy ended there. Tyler Montague, Stacey Pearson, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And 12 Plus is the streaming home of 12 News. You can see all our Sunday Square Off coverage. Download 12 Plus on your Roku, Fire TV, and Apple TV devices right now. That's our show for this week. Thanks very much to all of our guests, and thank you so much for joining us. Before we go, I want to send our best wishes to our director, Calvin Robbins. Wave, Calvin, as he and his growing family head back to his home state of Florida. It has been a pleasure working with you, Calvin. And we'll see you back here next weekend for another round of Sunday Square.